games, but I really haven't been in the mood for like games. I don't know how that makes any sense, but in a way, I don't know. So let me explain to you too. I've been having a busy week between work, going to work, and then how can I put it? Otherwise, so and then I got FIFA. I like FIFA a little bit, but just like it's whatever. One of the things I'm still thinking about in a way, um, since I got my vaccine, I feel fine. But the crazy thing is when I work at like a grocery store, and I told my boss that I got the vaccine. He just sent me home. Like what? You want me to go? I'm not talking bad about my my employer, nothing like that. No, but I thought that was kind of odd. I don't really. To me, I'm neutral. I mean, once I check out of a place, like I'm not really. I don't have anything against the organization, nothing like that. I'm just neutral. Like I just see it as an opportunity. I'm not a bad employee at all, nothing like that. I just do what I need to do and do above and required of what I'm supposed to do. But yeah, I go back like Thursday. I got caught up with my schoolwork. That's another thing. I'm just just chilling before I go back in Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and like make some money. But man, the thing I don't really like most about I feel like these games. I think I'm gonna stop spending money on these games is because like you spend a lot of time on games, and for what it's worth, there's not any new content. There's not really been any push to address any of the things. Like I know that CD Project Red, the people who made Witcher, Cyberpunk, they got hacked. They got their internal documents hacked, and the people are demanding a ransom. And I think, for what it's worth, a lot of these games are not really producing anything on the back end or the front end, for that matter. Because if you think about it, a lot of people they're going to just get their money, liquidate whatever they can, and just going to go off with that. I'm not saying what CD Projekt Red did is fraud, but it could be considered fraud considering that they have investigations against them, but by how they handled the whole thing, I think they shouldn't just released it. And then the problem I got with most games is that a game could be completely bad, and the need for actual game testers is pretty much overshadowed. Nobody wants a game tester, really. 2K. Wow, I'm talking and then that happens. I didn't even see that guy. But it is what it is. This person, I mean, I can do anything against that, but it's whatever. Like FIFA, I think FIFA is cool. A lot of these games are just content fillers. I expect games and stuff to be delayed. Far Cry. I don't even know what even quarter Far Cry is supposed to come out. I might pre-order that. But I'm not going to pre-order a game, honestly. No more games. That's honest. Like, I wouldn't even say there's a whole lot of PS5 games. They are and there aren't. Like, I know Call of Duty has had their, content update, which is good. I do feel like it's good, but Call of Duty in itself, I played last night and I wasn't streaming. I did okay, but I just still didn't like the game. Like, I'm not really outgrowing games, but I realize a lot of games, they are in the state that they are in based off of decisions made by a company. And that's pretty a bad state to be in. Like, I would say Madden. Madden's had its fair share of issues. They don't really have no competitors. I'm not going to even say that 2K, because I feel like they got their stuff back. If you're talking about college football, EA did the college football thing. I think that's a W. It's not NCAA, but it's EA Sports College Football. That's a rebrand. The one game I wish it would make is another Def Jam fighting game, but the last one, that jam was doo doo. Um, Had a storyline, but it didn't stick to the core classics. And the crazy thing is, it took them like 6 years to make it. Like Def Jam Fight from New York was pretty good. Even the ones before it. I was playing that on PS2. I played that. I played one of the Def Jams on Super Bowl. I was like 4 or 5. I loved that game. I didn't even have a PS2. I had Xbox at home. But I didn't have that many games for Xbox. Like I remember my dad, he got us an Xbox 360. And the first game, I still got it. I got NBA Live 06. That was one of the last games that I bought because I didn't play Xbox 360 at all. I had a console I didn't even play. I played it for a little bit. I used to play like kid games. Like one of the games I had on there was like called Viva Pinata. Wasn't really a particularly good game, but it was kid friendly, something to do. That's when Xbox Live had points and stuff like that. That's the funny thing. A lot of stuff has changed. I know people talk about console exclusivity. I don't really believe in console exclusivity. In my honest opinion, because a lot of stuff is a false sense of certain stuff. Like, in my honest opinion, like someone saying that, something runs better on Xbox. Even if something really does work on Xbox, you always want to have the thing that, PC and stuff is better. I'm not here to deny that. But someone said that PC has all the perks, but PC, you're going to spend a whole lot more money than I feel like that people won't say. In order to have a good PC and like you build it yourself, you're going to at least shell out $1,000. And you got to get the GPUs, you got to get all that type of stuff, the cards and stuff like that. And that stuff's always, almost all the time, out of stock, so it's kind of a little bit of an L. But if someone's been doing it for a while and they, built gaming PCs for people, that's a lucrative business idea. I'm not really interested in that. And for the most part, like, I didn't spend money that I would have spent on games. I put it on stocks and stuff like that. So I think that's really kind of working out to my favor. For the most part, man, I don't know, people talking about Dogecoin. I only put like $15 in that, so there's that on that. So, I mean, I'm just chilling, to be completely honest with you. I really don't feel any different from taking the Moderna vaccine. I really don't. I know people are saying my sister gets her second dose of like the Pfizer in a couple of days. And people say that's supposed to whip your ass or something like that to a certain extent because it activates the protein and stuff like that, the spike protein. Obviously a lot of stuff has reactions. You're gonna have side effects. But at least you have protection against the virus. That's the one thing I can say. Because nobody wants to get sick. And with medical bills, like, And especially like someone's like, I would say poor, like if you're like the man of the household and you probably make an annual income of like $30,000 and your wife is a stay-at-home mom or something like that, you get taken out. Obviously the woman's going to be at a bigger burden. That's why people should invest in buy life insurance, because you don't know. You got to think about life after something happens, accidental death insurance. There's a whole lot, man. It's a whole lot. Someone told me today at school there's not one thing I don't know about. And that is true. That is true. I try to be try to be faster in areas, think outside the box. Especially if you're talking about properties and stuff like that, rental properties. I really don't believe in rental properties. As crazy as that seems, if you're like a developer, sure, but like you're an average person, a lot of the places really sell people on certain stuff that's really, if you really want to be completely honest, well, for me, to be completely honest, I feel like a lot of people, I'm probably good as dead. I'm gonna just leave. But back to what I'm saying, I feel like a majority of stuff, in my honest opinion, especially with rental properties, you really have to be careful because, in all honesty, a lot of stuff. I'm not saying it's like completely a Ponzi scheme, but for the most part, I feel like some of the stuff like people promise renovations and constructions and stuff like that. And then anytime that you're like, for instance, a timeshare, it can be good, but then it could be bad. Like for instance, as crazy as it is, like if someone owns, like for instance, I'm not gonna go in, but it's just kind of a story. Like if you own like a condo, right? It's located like in a hotel. You know, it's pretty decent. You know, like a 4-star hotel. They haven't really done any renovations to the place, so it's kind of you can definitely kind of tell it's like a '90s, maybe popular '90s stuff like that. Uh, Definitely built in like 1977. Last time they did renovations like the early 2000s, 1990s, 2000s. So the aesthetic is from that time. Like they have the popcorn ceilings and stuff like that. Kind of trying to be like Florida in a way. Have the type of feeling and flair to it. Um, they have like a lazy river, that type of thing like that. So back to what I'm saying. You know, a lot of stuff they be trying to charge like administrative fees and certain stuff like that for like the room. And the crazy thing is like okay, let's say someone comes up from up north, right? And they have like they bring bed bugs and stuff like that into a unit that someone has. The owner at this particular place has to pay for extermination with bed bugs. And do you know how much that costs? Bed bugs, to get rid of bed bugs, and the doggone room is hot as hell when that happens. That's $1,000, and it has to be 8 hours. That whole process is like 8 hours. It's hot as hell, and trust me, that right there is a dub. I don't think bed bugs and stuff have to do anything with like I just feel like it's definitely people's like house, how they live in and stuff like that. Cause that's just nasty. Like I know there was this. They did a report like on my local news how somebody was living anytime they go to sleep and stuff like they were living in a roach infested thing, but they were living in poverty. They was getting like government assistance and stuff like that. That's not funny. What the hell, man? That was some bullshit, but it is what it is. I can't control that. I can't control that. It is what it is for that point. But I definitely think that, in my honest opinion, a lot of rental properties and stuff like that is good and bad because you have to pay for maintenance, and it's pretty much like a landlord that you already know is not going to do anything. Like they're difficult. Like for instance, let's say someone owns a building, right? Correct. And the landlord, I mean, in a way, they're collecting rent. A person gets in a bad lease agreement with the landlord and stuff like that. They make renovations to a place which they think is kind of, they're being taking a step out by owning a building. Not really owning it, but they have complete ownership, and it's kind of a fixer up, great in value in their mind. But they spent like $4,000 on a place that's a 10 by 10 building, like a garage, like for their business, like a barbershop. That's pretty bad, and not even including like the expenses and stuff they had to make in terms of getting like water, even the pipe system. They had to fix that. So that's pretty. I To this day, I question like a barber's decision to go into the spot that he did. That was ridiculous. But he pretty much has the same setup, but he didn't have to spend that much money. But the only difference is, I don't know. It's definitely, I don't feel like the work. The amount of work they put into a 10 by 10 place is just absolutely ridiculous. And he had like he only had one other barber helping him, and he had a spot. It was 10 by 10, but he was trying to teach other people like apprenticeship and to get people barbering like under him so he can collect some type of commission and then booth money and stuff like that. He can teach people how to barber because he's an instructor. To me, in all honesty, barber and barbering, I think, is it a good profession? Yes. But I feel like barbering in today, a lot of people make it to be something that it's not. Like, I'm never going to, disrespect someone's hustle or saying what they're not worth or something like that. But, like for instance, someone say they don't spend nothing less than, $50 a haircut. That's absolute ridiculousness, in my honest opinion. That's really just showing you mismanagement of money because, like, for instance, $50. I'm not spending $50 on my haircut. I spend between $15 and $20 on my haircut. My haircut for me includes like $10 beard and shave, but I tip my barber like $5. I've always had a barber between $7 and $10. The price has not changed since I've been a kid. But if this was like a hairstylist or something like that, then I could honestly see why the stuff is cost so much. But past that, I really don't believe that a lot of stuff should cost the amount of money that it does. Because once you have a steep price for something, it's just not really going to be looked that pleasing to people. And then on top of that, like, you think about a hairline, your natural hairline and stuff like that, you're going to be right back. So I feel like I get a haircut like every 3 weeks. So I feel like, someone goes to get the haircut every week. To a certain point, I used to do that just because, but I stopped doing that. I used to do it every week to a certain extent or every week and a half. It's not really a necessity. Haircuts and stuff obviously have value. The crazy thing is, I was talking in my organizational leadership class about jobs and, about the corporate workplace and stuff like that. And my teacher said she was a accounting person for, like a auditing firm and stuff like that. Now she was working and people just definitely sexually harassing women and doing all sorts of type of stuff, like, pressing up on women, making sexual advances. Now, obviously, that type of stuff is an HR concern. I definitely do not agree with that. Um, Here's a few things I feel like is wrong with the workplace and corporate, in my honest opinion. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that is anything says goes in a way. Like, for instance, let's say, for instance, Washington football team, they had a lot of stuff about sexual assault and just sexual misconduct in the thing. And then that story never really broke. They talked about it, but they really couldn't say. People, the news only covered like a segment of that, and that just kind of went away, which I think is wrong for one. But the thing I don't like, especially in the workplace, is how people, like, some people in a particular workplace cannot be around women for a set amount of time. Like, they have to be supervised, as ridiculous as that is. But then the crazy thing, the practices is that you can't have a lot of hair and you got to cut your hair off. I'm not cutting my hair off for a job. I'm just sorry as I can be. I'm not changing my hairstyle. There's bigger issues. Like, if I have a degree and I have dreads and stuff like that, what is going to be the point of me cutting my hair if I'm doing the job and stuff like that? I'm not cutting my hair. Someone said I would stop to make six figures, make it particularly a six-figure salary. I said, yeah. I would say, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. To me, that really does. Because six figures, like, it ain't everything. But back to what I'm saying, it's just like that. And I feel like there's a level of dishonesty, especially with all sorts of types of jobs. Unrealistic expectations for you to do certain stuff, like unrealistic sales goals, like organization. You have, I would say realistically, they could have like 3 consecutive back quarters. So you're trying to turn stuff around. You can put stuff on the drawing board. You can make all sorts of type of recommendations and suggestions, but it has to be a collaborative effort to like basically drive in a different approach. Because if you're making like disingenuous type of approaches and then trying to gain customers and stuff like that, particularly for various reasons. Not even let's say like for instance, let's see, like Gucci makes a hijab. First of all, why is Gucci making a hijab in the first place? For one, what else are they doing? Like, I think the other thing is called a dia. I'm not sure exactly, but I don't even know why they even do that. But let's go realistically with H&M when they did the thing, their controversy thing. I don't really think H&M is really a great clothing store. Honestly, that's my personal opinion, and it's not because their stuff is $20. I really don't shop in there, and my stuff, like my thoughts and styles, certain stuff for $20 can be fashion. But just like Fashion Nova, I don't see why women perplex themselves to go and basically buy Fashion Nova. Their return policy is terrible, but it's nothing that great. They make like, hey, this is something I want to buy and spend my money on. I definitely think you shouldn't have to spend money on certain stuff. Clothing, I definitely think you should have to spend money on clothing. But like the quality of clothing, Fashion Nova isn't it. Like when I think of clothing, I'm not thinking about certain stuff. Certain stuff's just not really. Certain stuff's definitely out of season. Like there's a lot of stuff I can't wear, and it's not what you think I'm talking about. Like a lot of stuff isn't weather appropriate. Like for instance, I can't wear like a Hawaiian shirt right now because it's literally. Well, first of all, I'm not in Hawaii for one. Two, it's cold. Well, today it's actually like 65 degrees. It's probably the warmest it's been in kind of like at least 2 months, but it's kind of an outlier. So definitely the pool here for Hawaiian shirts is not that high. And two, the Hawaiian shirts that I do have is like $70. But most of the time I get them junks on sale for like, the last one I got was like $30. But I definitely say a whole lot of stuff like textiles and stuff like that. That's definitely going to be one of the major focal points. I feel like that's kind of a segmented thing where you can have a lot of variation in that particular market, but you're not going to necessarily have the same type of quality. I'm not going to say that material and stuff in these $70 isn't like, superior or whatnot, but I definitely don't buy the fact that, a lot of these items are their particular best. Like if someone has told me that, what I think about all these other goods in terms of like, fashion, some of these shoes and stuff like that. Like someone asked me about Balenciaga, I would never buy. I know I myself personally don't believe in like spending more money means something's great. I definitely prefer value over like money spent. Like for instance, a lot of these games on PS5, you really wouldn't buy them unless there was something that was great about it. Like I know I was talking with somebody about like Spider-Man, Miles Morales. It was to get a PlayStation 5, but just the fact that it got other stuff. And then like a full-time manager, like at a lab, don't like biomedical stuff. So I mean that was cool. The thought of getting a PlayStation 5 is cool, but you can't get them. And then the fact that the bundles and stuff, it's basically timed. You're not going to get a PlayStation 5 unless you're buying something with it. I think that that's good and bad for a lot of reasons because there's really no other way that you're going to get it. Like if you're a kid, no kid has like $1,000 just laying around. No average kid at least. So if you definitely like your parents or something like that don't have they're not looking to spend $1,000 just on a GameStop bundle or $860 or $900. That's a dub. That's dead on arrival pretty much. But another thing I'm realizing too, that a lot of food and stuff like that isn't even worth the money for being completely honest. And I've been saying that a lot of food is overpriced. And I still think that the quality of food when stuff was really in the shitter, they was basically giving away food. Like you were seeing deals and stuff that $40 family meals. Now that done going up. They're not even having that. Like this place, basically, it's big like North Carolina and Virginia. It's like a sports bar and stuff like that. And recently, they've had a shooting at this location. That's why I don't go to bars and stuff like that. It's not really worth it, or clubs or anything like that. It's always stupidity. You can't mix alcohol and people together. It's a recipe for disaster, like the clubs. I really wholeheartedly believe that you can't mix alcohol and some people together. Definitely not. And the fact that a lot of stuff gets, played out. It definitely gets played out. But man, even people talking about corporate parties, that type of stuff, I feel like that's kind of forced on the people just to show their face. And I was still laughing about this whole thing. I really don't care about it anymore. And speaking of something, I got to do my French lesson. I would almost be forgetting 'cause I'd be so busy. I had to do I would say I do 10 modules today. I really had to do 10 modules today. Yeah. Alright. Oh my god. GG's.